I am the pastor.
And I am the Prince.
I am Pastor Tim Hamner of Yahweh's House of God.
I'm Prince Lyle of Everywhere. I'm
Yes,
a gospel artist. I'm a recording artist.
So,
I'm a broadcast
is this
veteran.
an internet thing, or is it the internet thing, or what are you the prince of?
Well, it started off as New Orleans Prince of Gospel.
Really?
So I kept the name Prince. It's just like, once you are ambassador.
Kind of like the artist you formerly known as
there
Prince.
You go. Well, no.
No.
Formerly known.
You won't be formerly known. You'll be forever the Prince.
Yep. It is documented in New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States of America.
So it is documented
Yes.
in New Orleans.
Yes. I even have my own day.
Is it in the annals of...
It's like Kinlock. I'm huge in Kinlock.
I'm huge.
You don't know anything
in
about
Kinlock.
Jackie's Back.
I don't know about Jackie's. I don't know anything about Jackie's Back.
Jennifer Lewis is one of my favorites.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm gonna have to introduce you to that. Can y'all believe he doesn't know about the show?
You know what?
There's a movie called Jackie's Back. That's going to be your
But don't tell me. That's
going to be your
homework. No.
homework.
Don't tell me. So here's what's happening.
Another episode we'll talk about.
Here is something that someone told me. A wise man once said that you can build an entire world with what you don't know. So there is so much that I don't know, or that we don't know, that you can build an entire world.
That's very true.
And I can say the same thing about some topics that I'm fully aware of that
true.
you're not aware of, and use the same.
True.
So I'm with you there.
On
but
that
you know
note,
what, folks?
Don't give up on it.
Exactly. And it's you know what? I
and he's like falling out of his chair and
you
stuff.
got to fall out the chair every now and again. You know what? At one point in this podcast, we're going to go ahead and do some video so that you can see us clowning in purpose.
Oh, my goodness.
In person. When I say in purpose.
Purpose.
Boy. Wow. But you know what? That's a part of what we're going to talk about today. Don't give up. As we're coming to you and you're listening to us live here on week 5.
Absolutely.
This is only the 5th week of the year.
I know.
And guess what? Remember how we talked about on that second podcast when we were talking about resolutions and what it meant to be resolute? And here it is on the 5th week, and there's some people that's trying to give up. They said, I'm going to eat right. I'm going to diet right. I'm going to play right. And they're giving up. And this is only week 5. And I'm saying, you know what? Don't give up,
but you know
sir,
what?
ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this. For all this is, first of all, because like with my team on Mondays, I'm usually sympathizing and empathizing with people who don't like Mondays, because I'm always trying to give them
Wait
good
a minute.
energy
Pause.
and all that.
What's wrong with Mondays?
That's a different episode. That's a different episode.
Boy,
Listen. I want to empathize with those who understand there are reasons to give up. But what I would like to do is tell you that I understand.
I'll give you one that I could give up.
What?
I could give up, or probably should give up, smoking.
I'm not saying things to give up, Pastor Tim. Man. This is the Pastor Tim, and this is the Pastor and the Prince, Pastor Tim and Prince Lyle.
We're having lots of fun.
I'm gonna try to keep him.
You know
on
what?
track.
I should give up alcohol. Those are things that I can give up on, but don't give up on your dream. If your dream was to give it up this year, and you've done such a great job, don't give up. Go ahead.
This guy.
Go ahead.
Right,
finish what you were saying.
Give me a minute.
I'm going to give you more than a minute.
So I understand why you want to give up. I understand that you may have reasons to give up. We're not talking about the things to give up. Not just yet, but the reasons that you have to give up. But I guarantee you, make sure you hold me on this. Quote me on it. Hold me on it. Put it on the record.
Put it on the sticky notes
that you have for sticking in there and doing the stick-to-itness.
Ooh, stick-to-itiveness. I like this. Go ahead.
The reasons that you have for sticking to it will outweigh the reasons that you have for giving up. All right?
Ooh.
Yes. There are reasons.
Normally we would have done wow, but remember we talked about wow on our first show.
Say, ooh.
Yeah, we'll just say ooh.
With like 10 O's and an H.
And an H. Or it could be 10 O's and an AH.
That's true.
Ooh.
Okay.
You can do the I'm just going to say ooh. Kind of like the oi oi boys from school.
Right, exactly.
OIOY.
Oh, my goodness.
That's going a little ways back there.
One of the things that you don't want to give up on is your commitment to work out.
Amen. Oh, boy.
Your commitment to work out.
Well, let's take that a step back. Let's go back one step. We don't even have to go back to the moon or to the 10,000 feet level. One step back. Your working out is actually helping your heart health. Working out is working your lung health. It's helping you to become more healthy. So when you get out and move, and I'm learning, even if you can get out and move for 10 minutes, and if you're not accustomed to do it, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, those little things begin to add up. And if you set that in your mind, if you set that as a dream for this year, you remember just 4 weeks ago, or you can say 5 weeks ago at the first of the year, we were partying with Ryan Seacrest, right? Yeah. We were saying, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to work out. You can look at the gyms, 24-hour fitness, Planet Fitness, all of these, gyms, they started receiving your money. The Weight Watchers folks, they grabbed your, Jenny Craig loves a lot of y'all.
And you know what? I want to digress. Even with things that were canceled for New Year's because of the variant and all that stuff that we're in. Listen,
that's true.
But you had a commitment to still somehow find a way to celebrate the fact that you were what is it?
Some of them partied in place.
You were optimist. What's the word? I'm
optimistic.
Looking for? That's it. That's the word.
Optimistic. Okay, we'll have to write that one on the board. Optimistic. Maybe that's our word for the day.
Yeah. You were optimistic that you wanted to celebrate the coming year. You had a commitment to do that.
That commitment.
Part of that commitment is discipline. Remember, we talked about before, the discipline means that you can do something, have a commitment to do it, even after the feeling is gone.
After the emotion,
after the excitement,
the emotion is gone.
All of that, the hoopla and the confetti and all that stuff. Then you come back and say, I'm still going to do it because I need to discipline myself. I need to condition myself. And that comes, I'm sure the pastor could tell us that comes spiritually too.
You know what?
You have to condition yourself
training
for some things.
To act in accordance with rules. That's one way of doing it. When you look at that word discipline, if you were to...
We're playing Jeopardy now.
There
He's giving
you
us
go.
the definition.
We're going to give you a definition of a word.
Give the word.
And I want you to look it up. It's activity or exercise or a regimen that develops or improves a skill, or you can call it some training. Some people might say it's punishment inflicted upon us. Those that don't like to work out, they'll call it self-inflicted punishment. And you know what? To a certain degree, it is. No pain, no gain. But I can promise you, for those that have not had a medical condition, for those that have not had it, you're on the side of what? Ignorance. Because you don't know what it's like to be gravely ill, like those who are gravely ill.
Not ignorance in a cultural sense, ignorance in a knowledgeable sense.
I would say ignorance in all senses, because you don't know until you know.
You heard the pastor preach about that.
You know what? Right. I'll say this. For those of you who've never been bitten by a dog, you don't know what it's like to be bit by a dog. And
true.
When the dog put his chompers into you, you know you've been bit. Now, some unfortunately may have been
in the South,
mauled.
A big fat mosquito.
Oh my goodness! Now, you know what's interesting? I guess that's a Midwest thing, because in the Midwest we had mosquitoes as well. And once bitten,
and on the Gulf Coast, oh yeah, definitely mosquitoes.
Yes, and once bitten, it's one of those things. You know, if you were like me as a child and you start scratching it, and now you have a little small bite turns into a molehill. And for those of you that know what molehills look like, oh boy! But back to this discipline and working out.
Then you learn to prepare to not be bitten, because you have the propellant.
So what do you do? You get repellent? Because back in the day we just lathered up with. You said propellant. Yeah, but I think you want repellent. Yeah, similar to what you. Yeah.
Well, I like to propel those mosquitoes.
Yeah, the propel,
somewhere.
yes, but since they catch you at night most of the time, because you swoosh off them covers and sheets, you open up the window, and all of a sudden they get you while you're sleeping, and when you wake up, you're just feeling all itchy all over the place.
Exactly.
But we digress.
But in 1 minute, you're gonna go back to that. 1 minute.
Yes, in 1 minute.
So when we come back, we'll talk more about this commitment and this discipline. But right now, I'd like you to hear about how the top scams are targeted against the Black community and how to avoid falling prey to it. We'll be right back.
On April 26 of this year, the Equal Justice Initiative will open both a memorial and museum in Montgomery, Alabama, dedicated to the victims of lynching in America post-Civil War. The memorial is called the National Memorial for Peace and Justice, and the museum is called the Legacy Museum, from enslavement to mass incarceration. Both were featured with a first look on 60 Minutes. What stood out most about the story were the pictures of the lynched Black people, often with several, up to as many as 15,000 people standing around watching the execution of a legal justice for crimes committed by Black Americans. In many of the communities, the lynchings were public spectacles, outings for the entire family to attend. This is Patrick Sturgis with a world of Black history.
And we're back. You're listening to the Prince
and the Pastor.
Yeah, but it was actually the other way around, the Pastor and the Prince.
It doesn't matter how we do it as long as we do it.
Because PA comes before PR.
Oh,
so alphabetically,
boy. Here we go.
The Pastor and the Prince.
So I'm glad
it's
this is
podcast,
not the script's spelling bee, because somebody would have their spelling words in a bunch.
If y'all could see him weirding out right about
yes,
now.
weirding out. And that's listen, the discipline that's coming back to where we were headed, back into the gym. But before I get into that, I wish y'all could see this watch that he has on, because it's blinging and blinding me.
It's not blinging.
It's blinging and blinding me.
Dark. That's
this
all
thing not only glows in the dark, it glows on the earth. Those that were on the shuttle, Michael Strahan had mentioned that while he was, in space just a few weeks ago, he saw that watch. That's how big that watch is.
Before the sermonic solo and before the sermon, we've got an announcement to make. Listen. I want to make sure that all of you will tell others about this podcast. You've been listening to us, and also email us, send us messages. You'll be on the platform.
Where can they catch us at?
At podcast. Well, the email address is podcast@yahogo.org.
And where can they find us online?
Before you say that, before I answer that, I want to spell so that they can know exactly what I'm saying.
I think that's a great idea.
Podcast, PODCAST at the little circle, the A with the circle around it. I think everybody knows that one. At Yahogo, YAHOGO.org. I like that.
There you go. Yeah, in unison.
Yeah.
We could have done 2-part harmony, but that'll be on another show.
Oh my
Go
goodness.
ahead.
Oh my goodness. But we're 2 tenors. It'd be like the what was it? 4 tenors.
But I can speak high too.
Yeah. Oh.
That's when you have lots of fun. Someone who doesn't have a high voice trying to do high.
Now it's time to say goodbye
to all our family.
Okay. All right. We're done. All right. So, and you can also catch us on podcast.yahogo.org.
Very good.
So make sure you do that. Remember that spell YAH. See, I was just trying to see if they were listening.
.org. That's YAHOGO.org. Can I give you a little nugget of information? At the time that we selected the name Yahogo, during that year, and this was approximately 10 or maybe 15 years ago that we secured that domain name. My uncle, who was the pastor at that time, he said, well, if you think of it as Yahoo, which is what most people will do, and if you misspell Yahoo, if you spell it wrong, you may stumble upon our website. So that was one of the reasons why he went with Yahogo, because of Yahoo. And I'm sure there are some that have probably picked up on that. Unfortunately for me, Yahoo is not a huge name in search engines like Google is. But Again, the name stuck. We go
now
with it.
We'll have to reach out to Google and get them to advertise with our podcast.
Well, no, that's easy. That's called a search engine optimization, and we may have to do that on another episode. And here he goes with the.
Here we go.
See, I can build a whole world in technology that this fella don't know. He got the black stuff all day, but when it comes to tech, he can't touch the Tim. All right, back to this discipline in the gym. Yes,
okay.
yes,
right.
yes. Back into the gym with this discipline. We first of all, I'm just encouraging those that started that commitment to working out to continue with the commitment. Don't give up. Don't give up on that dream. Even like I said, if it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes. I was watching a television show. Some of you might know what it is. I believe it's called 1,000-Pound Sisters. And one of the sisters is trying her best to get some exercise in, although she can walk. But she spends most of her time sitting in the chair. She was showing that she was doing some exercises in the chair. So if she can do it at close to 600 or 700 pounds, I know those of us who are less can continue on our journey to do something. And as I stated earlier, every little bit counts. Even if it seems minute, if you can continue minute changes on a daily basis, guess what? The synergistic effect of those changes is going to bring the outcome. Feels like you got something that you want to say on that.
I got a quote for you. You felt that.
Oh, wow. I felt the quote.
S.C. Laurie said this: reasons to keep going, because your heart is beautiful, number one.
Ooh.
Because you are worthy of a peaceful life, number two.
Ooh.
Number three, your dreams are precious. If you don't take care of yourself, you will never get to the point where you're realizing your dreams, because your life will be over before your dreams. All right. Number four, you deserve to enjoy yourself.
I deserve to enjoy that chest pie. Hey.
Well, but
I'd
like to look at it from a different perspective.
Oh, help me out.
Sometimes a lack of good health can restrict what you do to enjoy yourself. Because if you cannot climb the stairs, sometimes there is no elevator, sometimes there is no handicap ramp. So sometimes climbing those steps
can I share
you to a place.
Can
where
I
you're
share a quick story with
else.
you? And this was an episode. Don't stay
there.
I need you to finish that quote.
Yep, I got two more.
I want to come back to them two quotes, but I got to share something with you that you said that struck a chord. It's not like I'm watching this stuff daily, but on another television program with another person that was overweight. One of the things that this individual said, I believe it was a woman, and she said the reason why, or you can go into purpose, because sometimes, purpose is what's going to drive you. It could either be your dream that drives, or it can be the purpose that drives. But her purpose that was driving her to lose the weight was she felt like she was missing out on life. She said, I want to be able to take a vacation and simply walk on the beach.
Wow.
And because of her size, she could not do that. And you just mentioned the restrictions that, you can say that it places a person almost in a bondage, or if you want to look at it as a prison. To release yourself from that prison, the purpose of why you're doing what you're doing is going to motivate you to truly get out of that. But you had a quote, and I want to hear this quote.
But before I get to that, you said something else that really makes sense to me, because one of the things that brings back my personal philosophy is that we all have responsibility in everything that's happening to our loved ones and things that are happening. There is some impact that somebody else has that they're not really recognizing. So
so are you saying each one teach one?
Well, no, I'm not going from that perspective. I'm going from, but that's a good thing. That's a good thing. What I'm actually talking about is that person who feels very shameful to go out to the beach. 9 times out of 10, it's because somebody has said some things either to her or in her presence that makes her understand what people think of people who look like her. So stop shaming people.
Oh boy.
I just heard a story recently where somebody was in the gym and this guy posted that this guy said, he was too big to be in there, and that he should not be in there with the rest of us.
You know what? This is why I like Planet Fitness. Because Planet Fitness has
there you go.
the
We gotta get them to
shame
advertise with us too.
Room. Yeah, we'll have to, or maybe I should have said Ran It Fitness.
See, he keeps mentioning all these brand names, and now we've got to get endorsements from
but
them.
Interestingly enough, as we mention those names when we call them out, we'll have to start changing them up. So because you know it as 24-hour fitness, if you hear me say 4-hour fitness, you'll know where we're at.
All right, that's 2 advertisers.
Hey,
all right,
there you go. But what they do is they have what they refer to as the no shame zone, and there are certain things that you're not allowed to do in that particular establishment because they're basically saying we are a gym for the rest of us. Our physique is not where we would like for it to be. We're not sitting on 10% body fat, or you can say 5% body fat, or even 2% body fat. Oh my.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to make sure I insert that is because many people listen to those narratives and say, "Oh, bless her heart, she really shouldn't feel that way about herself." But we have to watch what we say in the presence of other people, and we have to watch what we say to other people, because that can actually create a stigma. So there we go. All right, two other things real quick. 2 other things.
But wait, let's come back to those after this break. We're back from that commercial break. Thank you all for listening. Now, you had 2 quotes that you were supposed to share, and I don't want to miss those.
It's a part of the same quote by S.C. Laurie. Her name is spelled Lourie.
Okay.
All right. And so these are reasons to keep going.
Reasons to keep going.
So I mentioned the first ones: because your heart is beautiful, you are worthy of a peaceful life, your dreams are precious, you deserve to enjoy yourself. And here are the last 2. The dark days won't last forever. That's second to the last one.
Dark days won't last forever.
The last one, reason to keep going. You are meant to be here. There goes that purpose.
There goes the purpose. And you know what? Let's deal with that. A lot of that has to do with our destiny as well.
Yeah. Come on, preacher.
Little did we know we are destined for greatness.
Yeah, we are.
The fact that we were made by a being that was much greater than who we are
in his
right
image
now. And that's the cool part. That's the part that I'm like, I'm sorry. I love the smart guys. I love Darwin. I love Einstein, some, who is it? Pascal or whichever his.
But did you know that, I'm going to interrupt you. Did you know that Einstein was the one who said, there was a quote, and I hope I get it right. He said, "It's not that I'm the smartest person. It's just that I stay with the problem long enough to find the solution.
And what people are going to find out is
smart.
What's interesting is when you look at that word smart, or when you think of smart people, if you were to read anything from Malcolm Gladwell, you'll find out that
silly minds attracting. No, I'm kidding. Okay.
I love it. Racial tension, but I'm going to leave that alone.
I just fell out of my chair.
He should have yes, he did. You didn't hear the thump, but we'll add it to the episode. Yes. Oh my goodness. Looking for racial tension. Only a Pastor Tim will come up with something. You're going to hear a whole lot more.
Actually,
like that.
That's probably where racial tension comes from. Silly minds. Because they're just
attracting racial tension. That's
probably where it comes from.
And you know what? I'm gonna leave that alone, because I may say the wrong thing. You think you're so smart. No. I may say the wrong thing when it comes to this smart situation. That's not my destiny to get myself in trouble.
And that's probably how we got smartphones.
It could have been how you got smartphones. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
But
that
anyway,
we're going down a rabbit hole.
It's a rabbit hole that I'll have to put into another show, because that would be a fun one. Attracting those things that are not good. Did you do all of your quotes?
Yes, all of those were done.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that we have all of your quotes. But I wanted to touch on that destiny just a little bit more, because we are created for greatness, and we have to realize that greatness is something that you can tap into.
Absolutely.
People think that you start a marathon by running from off the couch and you start the marathon. No, that's not how it works. The way that it works is you have to get up and incrementally start moving toward whatever that goal is. Going back to something that you said earlier, as far as Einstein, he just said, I stick with the problem longer, which is how I'm able to find or see the solution. And I shared with you some of the work of Malcolm Gladwell. For those that are into some of the books that he has created, you'll find, with the 80-20 principle, you're going to find that there is no thing called luck. It's just people sticking with it long enough for a solution. And I'm just wanting to share with everybody that's here, it is your destiny not to give up on those things that you set up as your resolution. If it's something that's positive, if it's something that's going to help you, if it's something that's going to help humanity, if it's something that's even going to help those that are coming behind you, I would say take the time and do it. Take the time to stick with it. Yes, there's enough people out there to tell you what you can't do, but you have to find people and you have to find things to place in your mind to override those negative thoughts so that you know that it can be done. Don't give up.
You mentioned marathon. Don't give up, but you mentioned marathon.
Yeah.
And there's
Did you know that's 26 miles? That's a lot of running.
26.2 miles.
Oh, I'm glad for the correction. 26.2 miles.
I've got something for you.
What you got?
3 things.
3 things.
Be smart.
Be smart.
Be strong.
Be strong.
Be inspired.
Be inspired.
Now, I'm going to define that. Be smart. Run the first third with your head.
Ooh.
Be smart.
That's be smart.
Run the second third with your legs. Be strong.
Ooh.
Number 3, be inspired. Run the last third with your heart.
Ooh. And some of you that are listening will know this one. Take a diaper with you just in case if... See, he doesn't know anything about runner's diarrhea, but it's a true phenomena that happens while you're running. And guess what? It's okay if that happens to you at the finish line, because guess what? You get to say, I finished.
Right.
And there is a distinction between, and I can tell you, there are those that, there, like I said, you don't know about things until you know. And one of the things that I learned, even as a runner, and I haven't gotten to my marathon yet, but I'm working toward my marathon. But one of the things I've learned is that's one of those things that happen when you run frequently. You run into that as a situation. There's also some other situations that happen too. By the way, if you're going to run a marathon, there's some types of clothes that you need to be aware of. And it goes for both men and women. That's what I said. Don't give up on your dream. Make sure you wear silk, because that thing, when the shirt is rubbing against, your body and sweat for an extended period of time, I can tell you by the time you're into 9 and 13 miles, that's when you're going to learn about silk. And you're going to want to make sure that you're properly dressed. Same thing with your socks. Same thing with the pants, because chafing is real.
Whoa. Chafing is that's not of God. Listen, but one of the things you said, I think we need to do an episode on soon and invite some good motivational speakers that I have in mind. But one of the things is everybody gets a trophy. That whole thing.
All right, that's
you
the
said
show.
I finished, and that was the whole thing. That's what I'm saying. We have to do an episode.
We'll have to do an episode. You know what we'll do? We'll talk about
Everybody
that episode after these messages.
And we're back.
We're back.
Listen, I want to remind you of the podcast that you're listening to. This podcast is called The Pastor and the Prince. Make sure that you email us. Let us know how we're doing. If you have ideas for shows, we'd love to hear them.
If you
have somebody who you think they have a business that really should be exposed, they want to advertise.
Brought to the forefront.
Yeah, they want to advertise. Or if there's a public service announcement, like the ones that you've heard on our show, we'd love to tell everybody about those.
Tell everybody about what you're doing in the community, what you're doing in your home, what you're doing in your church, your business.
Yeah.
Your hair salon. Hair.
Oh, stop it. Please stop. Somebody get him. I'm so glad this is coming to an end so we could stop him while he's on the
Oh,
road.
no. I'm on a roll. We got to keep the roller coaster
Before
going.
we went to that last break, we were talking about an episode that we need to do going forward. One of the episodes is about everybody gets a trophy. That mindset, there's a whole generation of entitlement, and there's I think we could probably do 2 or 3 shows on it, but
on that,
certainly on the show.
But you know what? On this show, I'll just simply say this. Listen, yes, it was only 5 weeks ago that we did our resolutions. If you don't walk away with anything, walk away with this. Don't give up.
Yeah.
There's 3 areas that we don't want you to give up on. We don't want you to give up on your dreams. We don't want you to give up on your purpose. And we definitely don't want you to give up for your destiny, because you have to know that you were destined for greatness. Yes, I started off with the smart people, and some of them believe that we came from other animals. I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to we were wonderfully made.
And fearfully.
And fearfully, if you want to add
With
that
lots
to
of
it, we were fearfully made, and you can say that fear could be with honor.
Respect.
That's respect. That's how we were
so
made.
Much that he
so
skillfully made
we
us.
have that greatness within us. It's up to us to tap into that piece of us that's from that remnant cloth. That's from the gods.
And I like what you brought in with the mindset of the marathon.
Yes.
So be smart, be strong, and have heart.
Yep. And a diaper. I'm the pastor.
I'm the prince. Thank you for
listening to another podcast episode.